This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Spooky, scary Bob Shoween, we're creepy, eerie pros. It's time for some of the worst movies and TV shows. Spooky, scary Bob Shoween, dribble, junk, and tripe. Maybe even a treat or two if you believe the hype. We're so sorry, cinema, but have you any pride? If you wanted to be good, then you should have tried. Spooky, scary Bob Shoween for entertaining you. We will make you laugh and scream, so just relax and boom!
Welcome, honored guests, to Bob Shoween. I am Raven Fox.
And I'm her boyfriend.
Ah, no!
No what?
You were supposed to dress up as Gomez. Why are you Fester?
Because I had the costume and I wanted to shake things up a little?
No, I want Gomez. You need to be Gomez.
Oh, alright. But hey, this gives me a chance to try out my new automatic costume changing machine. Wish me luck!
Rob, are you alright?
Whew! Oh man, that was weird. Did it work?
Well,
What's the matter? Am I dressed as Pugsley or something?
no, you're dead.
Dead? What do you... Whoa! Okay, that's different.
Different? This is terrible! You can't be dead! Who's gonna do the review?
Hey, we're reviewing the first season of Netflix's Wednesday. This is perfect! Our mysterious and spooky series, directed by my favorite director in the whole wide world, Tim Burton, who I got to see recently, Squee! Opens on a typical day at Nancy Reagan High School, where social pariah Wednesday Addams finds her little brother Pugsley having fallen prey to some bullies. Right off the bat, we can see that Jenna Ortega's performance as Wednesday is going to be absolutely brilliant. You can tell that the blank face she's wearing is being used as a shield, since
emotion equals weakness.
When anyone else would run the risk of looking incredibly bored. I'm talking to you, Nico Parker from Dumbo. And despite his role being so much smaller, I also love Pugsley, played by Isaac Ordonez, since he could easily pass as Jenna Ortega's brother and a baby Raul Julia. Although I am a little confused by his reaction as to what's going on here. He's tied up, gagged, and stuffed into his locker, and he looks terrified from it. Shouldn't he just be kinda confused by it? Obviously, these bullies mean to do him harm, as we can see in this freaky little psychic flashback that pops into Wednesday's head from out of nowhere. And they inflict said harm by indulging in the same kind of playtime that he had with his sister when they were younger. This shouldn't be scary, just really weird. Speaking of weird, I also love the attention to detail on the Addams kids' clothes. Hand-drawn stripes knitted into Pugsley's sweater, little tiny skull and crossbones doodled into Wednesday's dress. Anything that looks like it materialized out of Tim Burton's sketchbook is awesome. She gets revenge for her bizarrely traumatized brother by sicking some piranha on his tormentors. Of course she would have those on her at all times.
Always be prepared. She was a Girl Scout, wasn't she?
No, she just has a taste for them.
Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
And since piranha generally do not attack humans, we're left to assume that these little guys have been specially bred to live up to their fearsome reputation. Well done, Wednesday. Now let's take a break to enjoy one of the hallmarks of any Tim Burton production, the opening title sequence. You know me. I am a sucker for Danny Elfman's music, and I know I said that not every Addams Family project has to have the Vic Mizzy theme, but man, this is missing the classic Addams riff at the end. We then see Wednesday out on a little road trip with her parents.
Ugh.
Raven, sweetheart, we talked about this.
I know. I have to stomach Luis Guzman as Gomez if I'm going to do the review with you. And he only has a handful of appearances, but I don't care. I hate him. He is completely wrong. I don't care if he looks like the comic strip. I don't want to read the comic strip. I want to watch a movie, and I want my Gomez.
Yeah. When Guzman was first announced for Gomez, I wanted to be cautiously optimistic about it because maybe it was one of those weird castings that you wouldn't think of, but might surprise you. Michael Keaton's Batman, anyone? But no. He's awful. He's just wrong for a role like this. It's my understanding that Guzman was Burton's first choice for Gomez, to which all I can say is... why? Please, Mr. Burton, explain your thought process, because I'm not seeing this one. Gomez Addams is supposed to be larger than life, but Luis Guzman's performance is very quiet and underplayed. Why have him characterized like this?
I don't care about the why. He is ruining Catherine Zeta-Jones. How do you ruin Catherine Zeta-Jones? There are only a few women who can pull off Morticia Addams, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is supposed to be one of them, but they've given her nothing to work with. You can't have Morticia without Gomez, and this ain't Gomez. The complete lack of chemistry between her and this little goblin man is making her a terrible Morticia.
It's where I met your mother, and we fell in love.
You guys are making me nauseous.
Me too!
Anyway, they're taking Wednesday to the Nevermore Academy, a fancy private school for freaks and weirdos like themselves. Which only begs the question why they'd bother sending the kids to a normal school in the first place.
You can't send the children to school. I'd be lost without them.
Fair enough, but since you tend to enjoy unpleasantness, what exactly is the problem? So they get to the absolutely gorgeous Nevermore Academy. Seriously, look at this place. I want to live there so frickin' bad! Where we're introduced to Principal Weems, and Wednesday's new roomie, Enid, a werewolf who has yet to grow into her fur. But even worse still, she's perky.
Hey, don't you disparage Enid's perky. She's a good perky. She loves Wednesday. She made her a snood.
Welcome to the quad.
It's a pentagon.
The whole snarky goth girl thing might have worked at normie school, but here things are different.
I agree. This is supposed to be a school comprised entirely of outcasts, of which you'd think there'd be a sizable goth demographic. Most probably among the vampire kids, right? We're going to have this odd couple dynamic between Wednesday and Enid during the course of the show, and that should be made a lot funnier when Wednesday discovers that her sociopathic loner thing is only a cliche at a place like this, and she has to ask for help from the painfully cheerful Enid to make her more unique like she would be in Normie Land. Hey Wednesday, there's going to be a pep rally in about 20 minutes. Want to join me? Why, yes, of course I do. Because I'm such a unique individual, and you wouldn't expect that I would want to attend such a ridiculous function.
You know, it's a small school and there wasn't much online about you. Oh, you know, you should really get on Insta, Snapchat, and TikTok.
I find social media to be a soul-sucking void of meaningless affirmation.
Shut up!
Oh. And for some reason, all of these out and proud monsters are afraid of Wednesday and her family's checkered reputation. Again, these kids are all supposed to be like the Addamses, right? Shouldn't they all have skeletons in their closets, none of which are worth making a stink about? You've got vampires who, I think, are the kind of vampires that, you know, drink blood. We got werewolves who become uncontrollable ravenous beasts every month, sirens who lure people to them with their singing and kill them, and we've even got some crazy offshoots, like this guy who could throw around people with his mind. Why are they so afraid of this comparatively normal girl with a penchant for exacting revenge on the kind of people who torment them? Or are they afraid of the apple not falling far from the tree since her father killed someone in what may or may not have been self-defense? Neither explanation for their fear of her makes any sense, since none of them are above a little foul play to get what they want. Incidentally, I know that one of the most popular Halloween costumes of late is this dress that Wednesday wore during her infamous and hilarious dance scene, but really? No one's doing her Black Cat costume? Come on. Joining Wednesday is... Actually, I don't know what thing is exactly. Is he a relative? A roomie? A pet? Wow, touchy. Gotta say, I do love this interpretation of him. While every other piece of Addams media suggests that this is just some naturally living hand somehow, this thing has been reanimated with mad science. This does suggest that there is no baby hands, but what can you do? But all is not well at Nevermore, as horrible, grisly murders start popping up all over the place. Who could be behind them? Is it the crusty old dean with a chip on her shoulder against the Addamses? The artist who can somehow bring his charcoal drawings to life? The siren girl who doesn't want Wednesday to knock her off her perch? Her court-appointed therapist who should have the mental prowess to get into her impenetrable mind as easily as Hannibal Lecter? This normal member of the faculty who's played by everyone's favorite Wednesday herself, Christina Ricci?
I'm a homicidal maniac. They look just like everyone else.
Maybe it's this guy. The truth is a mystery.
Rather than simply being stuck in the middle of all this by some twisted quirk of fate, it appears that Wednesday is personally connected with all this because it was prophesied that she would take down the evil force that's behind the murders. Since I guess Wednesday Addams is the only person in history to have braids in her hair. On top of her involvement having all this predestined chosen one stuff about it, it also doesn't help that they gave Wednesday psychic visions to drive the plot forward. The Addamses pride themselves on being the best at everything they do, and I would imagine that someone like Wednesday would be able to solve mysteries like this with only her wits and detective prowess. Her having to rely on these psychic visions to point her in the right direction, no less than 9 times, mind you, is on par with Francis from Philadelphia just dreaming his way to the mystery solution. It's just more narrative cheating than there really needs to be. I've been doing a lot of skimming just for the sake of time, but out of this season's 8 episodes, I need to talk about episode 5 in greater detail.
Oh no. This is the one, isn't it?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Can't we skip it? Please?
We cannot. How else are we supposed to show off the Gomez that might have been?
Don't you mean should have been?
Since Wednesday herself is the focus of the show, obviously, you can't help but get a little excited when the rest of the family shows up for an appearance. And in this episode, you get a better look at that sordid history that's making everyone so uncomfortable about Gomez. I mean, aside from his casting choice. The family stops by for Parents' Weekend, and they're welcome to join one of Wednesday's therapy sessions.
I think it's high time my parents faced the music.
Who was Garrett Gates and why are you accused of murdering him?
Wednesday has obviously done her homework on this, and she should know that the charges were dropped. The only reason why Gomez and Morticia wouldn't have shared the story with her before now is that they just didn't think of it. It happens. And for all of Gomez's casual sword fighting, why is it so unbelievable that he might actually raise his sword while defending himself against Morticia's old boyfriend who went insane with jealousy? And you cannot tell me that Wednesday hasn't seen this mugshot before.
Hell, this is what their yearbook photos should look like.
And I don't know who this gentleman playing young Gomez is, but wow. I totally get the desire to make him look as much like the comics as possible, whether it's in this series or the recent animated films, but come on, look at this guy! He looks like a perfect blend of the cartoon Adams and Raul Julia. Granted, we don't see a lot of his performance as Gomez, so there's no way of knowing if he'd be appropriately over the top, but at least he wouldn't be downplayed and thought of. The string of recent murders leads the local sheriff here to think that Gomez's actions are more homicidal than previously believed, and the rest of the episode revolves around Wednesday clearing his name. After a little bit of digging, metaphorical and literal, she eventually uncovers the truth that Gomez's actions were indeed an act of self-defense, and Gomez is a free man again.
Well, at least we can't say Parents' Weekend wasn't a nail-biter.
I knew you didn't have what it takes to be a murderer.
1. You're supposed to be smart enough to know that everybody has the potential to be a murderer. 2. Even if your father was exonerated from this crime, that doesn't mean he's not guilty of other murders. Maybe he just got better at hiding them.
I knew you were innocent, Father, at least in this case. If you had murdered someone, you'd never be sloppy enough to get caught.
I don't want to reveal anything more about the story, because despite the series' imperfections, I'd recommend you check it out. It's kind of eye-rolling when a mystery story has to rely on the hero having psychic visions about as much as using their powers of deduction, and frankly, this series doesn't really know what to do with its own setup. The Addams family have always been fish out of water, but when you put them into an ocean of other fish that are supposed to be like them, they shouldn't be sticking out as much as they are. The comedy in this series should be coming from how Wednesday is so used to being ostracized by society that she doesn't know what to do with herself when she's finally in a place where everyone understands exactly what she is and where she's coming from, but instead, everyone behaves like the normies despite their allegedly being outcast themselves. But on the plus side, it was fun watching Jenna Ortega bring this character to life when it would be too easy to just copy what Christina Ricci did with her. It's always a joy watching Tim Burton do what he does best with his dark aesthetic and offbeat humor, and I can't wait to see what happens in Season 2. Anything more you'd like to add, Carita?
Qui ne pouvons doit suivre.
Oh, Tish, that's French.
Oui.
And you're dead, too.
A life without you. Seulement cela serait l'amour.
Cara mia.
I'm a night-head hunter looking for some head. 'cause I'm a teenage tiger and a goo-goo bug. You better duck when I show up, the goo-goo bug. Yeah, the city is a jungle and I'm a beast. I'm a teenage tiger looking for a feast. Yeah, I want the most, but I'll take the least. 'Cause I'm a goo-goo bug tiger and a teenage beast. You better duck when I show up, the goo-goo bug.
Oh, I love you too. Mwah.